Islam Moors, Peace Hotep. Sorry about the late start. You know how computers go. Computers do their thing when they're ready. Where we at today? September 3rd. Right? I want to say Islam to all the active Moors out there. We give high honors to the Moors who stick true to the principles laid down by the Prophet. Right? Give honors to Allah for sending us a divine prophet for us to use as a guide through this madness that we're going through right now. As well, we want to give high honors to Grand Sheikh Nature El Bey and Taj Tariq Bey for yesterday's class. You know, it's already up on YouTube. You know how we do already. You know, we're not playing the Vince McMahon, you know what I mean, putting it out in snippets and all that, right? On that note, we're going to start today with Black Power, the politics of liberation in America, right? The politics of liberation in America, not in going back to Africa and exercising politics of liberation there, but staying here where the slave master brought us and understanding the politics of liberation in America. So obviously certain people didn't have any real mentality of going back to no Africa anywhere because they had a higher degree of knowledge, as we'll see or hear. Right? So don't be fooled when you hear that, you know, certain people are on. Don't be fooled when you see and I want to say Islam to the OFC, brother Pharaoh Freeman and the rest of the Moors in Canaanland territory, out in another jurisdiction out here where, you know, the Moors are getting active and they're getting unified. So Islam to you Moors for jumping on board. So yeah, now we were in America. So when the King Alfred Plan talks about the infiltrated organizations, right? Might as well see if I got it around here somewhere. The infiltrated organizations under King Alfred, right? And you hear people mention, or organizations mention, that you know who they are and they're right around today, still right now, you know what I mean, still teaching people, still putting information out. They got DVDs out, they got books out, they got little flyers, they got people giving them fiat to come do lectures. But these are people who are infiltrated organizations, right, in order to keep the people dumb, right, and keep the people under the occupational forces, right, which is really exercising power, because the force that they're dealing with, right, you know, the force be with you. The force is the Moroccan Empire, that they know that that's the force. Just like everybody in the world knows that a kingdom is not going to give authority to somebody who lives outside of the empire, right? Not because of the foreigner, but because the kingdom doesn't have that jurisdiction to do that. Only the empire has supreme jurisdiction, right? And the empire is the one that sets up everything, sets up the treaties and all that. So when they say Moors sold themselves into slavery, we're talking about all you black guys too, not just us because we have fezzes on. We say that we're Moors. We're talking about you black guys out there who are black Muslims, Student Non-Violating Coordinating Committee, SNCC, Congress of Racial Equality, Euro Movement, Group on Advanced Leadership Goal, Freedom Now Party, United Black Nationalists of America, the New Pan-African Movement, the National Urban League, the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, Committee on Racial and Religious Progress, and the Moorish Science Temple of America, because they're supposed to be on the list too. But if they put them on the list, then they'll let you know that there is such a thing as Noble Drew Ali, and they knew about him since 1913, since this came out in 69, and they're going to reveal to you more than they want to reveal to you. So it's to not reveal to you, they leave the Moorish Science Temple out. When you can go into the FBI records and they'll tell you that we infiltrated the Moorish Science Temple of America. So that means we're infiltrated, right? We're not going to play around like Rastafarians play around. Ethiopia wasn't colonized, but you're calling it Ethiopia, when that's Kush, and you're calling it Ethiopia and saying that that wasn't colonized, but it's called a Greek name. So we're not playing that. The Moorish Science Temple of America was infiltrated, right, by agents, right, under Hoover, to stop the activity of the Moors, right? So you have Stokely Carmichael and Charles V. Hamilton, right? Black Power. All these guys out there, they have this book in their library if they say that they're Black Power, right? Page 24. In From Slavery to Freedom, Professor John Hope Franklin writes, when the countries of Europe undertook to develop the New World, right? So, right there already, they're telling you that Europeans have nothing to do with developing, with being the New World. Because they said themselves that we came to develop the New World. That means the New World was already there, and they were coming there to develop it. And if they were coming there to develop the New World, then the New World Order isn't theirs. Period. Nothing to argue about. If you can't trust it, you better. Because we have no time to play around games right now. Just today, Brother Tallahassee called me, told me on the news about some 6-year-old just beat up and killed a 6-year-old in the playground or something crazy. 6-year-old beat up a 6-year-old and killed him, right? You don't think it's that time right now to get your stuff in order, then you keep sitting there, because you have some 6-year-old come kick your ass. Watch. All these genetic foods that they're eating or whatever, watch, yo. You feel the grips of the children is getting stronger. You think that's normal? You know, some of it's normal, but some of it is directly, you know, recreating or bringing into existence something different or new. But they have to do that on the original. When the countries of Europe undertook to develop the New World, they were interested primarily in the exploitation of America's natural resources. Labor was obviously necessary. In the cheaper, the better. And that's page 47 in From Slavery to Freedom, Professor John Hope Franklin. Indians would have been a natural solution, but they were not too susceptible to diseases carried by Europeans, and they would not conform to the rigid discipline of the plantation system. Poor whites of Europe were tried, but proved unsatisfactory. They were only indentured servants, brought only to serve for a limited time. Many refused to complete their contract and ran away. With their white skins, they assimilated easily enough into the society, but black Africans were different. They proved to be the white man's economic salvation, right? Notice the connotative language, right? Black people and white people, right? Franklin concludes, because of their color, Negroes can be easily apprehended. Negroes could be purchased outright, and a master's labor supply would not be in a state of constant fluctuation. Negroes from a pagan land and without exposure to the ethical ideals of Christianity could be handled with more rigid methods of discipline and could be morally and spiritually degraded for the sake of stability on the plantation. In the long run, Negro slaves were actually cheaper. In a period when economic considerations were so vital, this was especially important. Negro slavery then became a fixed institution, a solution to one of the most difficult problems that arose in the New World. With the supply of Negroes apparently inexhaustible, there would be no more worries about labor. European countries could look back with gratitude to the first of their nationals who explored the coast of Africa and brought back gold to Europe. It was the key to the solution of one of America's most pressing problems. Back to the book now, right? The fact of slavery had to have profound impact on the subsequent attitudes of the larger society toward the black man. The fact of slavery helped to fix the sense of superior group position. Chief Justice Taney, in the Dred Scott decision of 1857, stated that they, black people, in brackets, had no rights which the white man was bound to respect, and that the Negro might justly and lawfully be reduced to slavery for his benefit. The emancipation of the slaves by legal act could certainly not erase such notions from the minds of racists. They believed in their superior status, not in paper documents, and that belief has persisted. When some people compare the black American to other immigrant groups in this country, they overlook the fact that slavery was peculiar to the blacks. No other minority group in this country was ever treated as legal property. All these law terms, legal property, status, superior status, paper documents, nationals, right? Dred Scott case. So they bring up the Dred Scott case, right? In the Black Power, don't forget which book this is, right? Black Power book, right? They bring up the Dred Scott case, right? And we have the example of the Sundry Free Moors, and we go to the Negro law of South Carolina, right? So this is the law for Negroes, all right? This is the same laws of South Carolina that the Sundry Free Moors were saying that they don't want to be adjudicated under these laws, because those laws are for Negroes. And according to Black Power, these individuals called African Negroes were enslaved and brought over here, right? Now, not only that, they also stated that Indians would have been a natural solution, but they were too susceptible to diseases carried by Europeans. During the time of the slave trade, there was no such thing as red Indians around here. This jurisdiction only had dark-skinned, nappy-headed, big-nosed people. The red Indian is late, very late. He's so late that the Manchurian, the Oriental, was in this land with us before the red Indian, because us and the Chinese, so-called, are the parents of the Indian, right? They're not autochthonous. They didn't come from the ground and all that, right? They came from us and Asians. That's why in this jurisdiction and more jurisdictions north, if you Go to any single reserve anywhere north of our jurisdiction, Toronto. Anywhere north. Anywhere. Every single person that says that they're native looks like a Chinese person. Every single one. Every single one has Chinese eyes. Every single person, individual, human being that claims to be native in North America, particularly in Canada, look like Asian people. Go do your research on Eskimos and Algonquins and all these people and see that they look Asian. They don't even look like red Indians, the so-called Indian type, right? So they're admitting that they thought about, and if they thought about it, they probably put it into practice, of using Indians as slaves, because they would have had to have had some Indian slaves to come to the conclusion that, you know, they're too susceptible to diseases created by Europeans, so we can't use them as slaves. Had to. They had to experience it to be able to make statements, right? And if that's the case, then they're admitting that there were Indians here, and now we're validating that when they say Indians, they're not talking about some pale people. They're talking about brothers and sisters that we see on the block today. That's how Indians looked, right? So-called Indians, right? So the Negro Laws of South Carolina, Chapter 1, the status of the Negro, his rights and disabilities. Section 4, the term Negro is confined to slave Africans. The term Negro is confined, right? So you can't use this term on any other, the term Negro can't be on any other people except slave Africans, right? In brackets, the ancient Berbers and their descendants. Berbers are Moors. So they're telling you right here in the Negro Law of South Carolina that the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, which in brackets they say ancient Berbers and their descendants, right? It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, right? So it does not embrace the free. Remember, this is the Negro Law of South Carolina, right? And they said that the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, the ancient Berbers and their descendants. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, right? When they say the free inhabitants of Africa, such as Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as the Lascars. So the term Negro does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa. So anybody in Africa that isn't under colonization, they would be considered a free inhabitant. So they wouldn't have the colonizers' names on them. They'll be free people, right? Just like in America, which is also Africa, because Africa and America are relative because both of them fit together like a puzzle. It's one landmass. And there was a cataclysm that caused the Atlantic Ocean. And that's all. There's nothing to go into, nothing, no debate or nothing about that, about Africa and America. It's all one jurisdiction, separated by water, that you can cross in a boat or a plane. So you can get there. So let's not separate what's going on, right? This is directly telling you that the term Negro is confined to slave Africans, and that if you are an ancient Berber or their descendant, you can be classified as a Negro slave. But a classification doesn't mean that's what you are. A classification is what somebody claims that you are. One, because they're trying to enslave you, or two, because you didn't make a claim. And what our people didn't do in slavery, when they were brought here, the few of them that were brought here from Africa, they didn't make a claim when they came here. because they didn't know that their jurisdiction extended from over there to over here, and that they were Moors by birthright, not because of where I was born. Because they were dark-skinned, melanated people, they are Moors. And they can't get away from the fact that they are Moors no matter what they call themselves. This is why it says here in the Negro law of South Carolina that it does not embrace, so the term Negro or slave does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa such as Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics such as Lascars. That's letting us know that Moor is a legitimate identity of ourselves. But if we don't claim it, then cool. We don't have to claim it. But when you be a slave because you didn't claim it, don't blame the white man, because he didn't do anything. Right? Matter of fact, we're the white people, and if we're going to blame the white man, then we're blaming ourselves. But then we blame ourselves and then we don't take responsibility, which is why the cycle continues with our people, because we never want to take responsibility for what we did. Right? So Noble Drew Ali made statements, many statements, right? And all these statements were covered in a little pamphlet called Oral Statements and Prophecies of Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moor Science Temple of America, right? And these Moors, copyrighted it in 1987 and registered it in 1988, right? So this is Noble Drew Ali. This is not their statements. This is Noble Drew Ali's statements that they took and they copyrighted it. And you know why people copyright stuff, but we have our copyright here, so we're waiting for our lawsuit for using the prophet's literature that he left for the Moors. Right? So go to any Moor Science Temple of America and ask them for Oral Statements and Prophecies of Noble Drew Ali. Right? And we're going to start. Sister M. Howell Bay of Temple 19 said that the Holy Prophet said that when the Europeans asked him, "Will we be saved this time?" the Holy Prophet said, "If you do, it will be through them." And he was referring to the Moors. Right? So this for all these people who have an issue with Kudro calling the European his brother. Right? Now, keep in mind that I had stores out here, you know what I mean, organizations, groups that I belong to, everything, you name it, everything out here, right? And we're talking conscious, knowledge of self, Afrocentricity, black power, all that, right? And I realized a long time ago that our people don't support their own stuff. Simple. Our people don't support their own stuff. How come? I don't know. But our people don't support their own stuff. That's just what it is. Right? They'll find every excuse not to support their brother. Right? But they'll go support everybody else out there. And, play the game like, oh, well, if you want my support, then I have to. When you go to a convenience store, you put down your $2 for your drink. You're not trying to get no deal on the drink. You're not going to Walmart to go buy a microwave and want to get price off the sticker price. You're just going to put the money up front. But they don't do that with our people. Right? Now, being that it was the black mentality, okay, now I can see why our people don't support their own stuff. Because, crab in the bucket, etc. But once we get out of that status of Negro, right? Negro law, South Carolina. So we don't have to try to pretend that we're something that we're not. We're supposed to be ourselves. When we start being ourselves, we notice how much people depend on us. How much people are really expecting Moors to go in their pocket and put money down. because we make everything run. Because we are the Moors. We are the founders of civilizations. We're everybody's God. We're going to go into some of that later. Right? We're everybody's God. That's not arrogance. That they say that. That's not what Kudrow says. You go ask all these so-called Filipinos or whatever that you see in their country, where they come from, how their God looks, and they're going to look at you like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Why are you even alive? If you have to ask that question. Because everybody knows, right, that the Moors are the founders of civilizations. It's a documented fact everywhere in the world that the Moors are the founders of civilizations. So when Noble Drew Ali is said to have made a comment that, well, if the Europeans are going to be saved, the only way the Europeans are going to be saved is through the Moors, and then there's Europeans who take that perspective in their mind that, okay, well, if I'm going to be saved and I'm going to be on the Moors, then I'm going to obviously have to do what Moors do. Right there is proof that this so-called troglodyte hybrid cracker, whatever we want to call him, not all of them are the devil. It might be a small number of them, but the ones who are sincere to what Noble Drew Ali brought, the ones who study, and the ones who don't put the Moors on the back burner, you know what I'm saying, and pretend like the Moors don't exist, but you know they can be free men on the land, but there's no such thing as Moors, right? There's individuals who are European, who are in the Moors' favor, who are in the Moors' camp, secretly, and they're scared, right? Who knows? They could be sitting on gazillions that we don't know about. You know what you saying, guy?
All right.
Everything's blessed, yeah. Right? They could be sitting on gazillions that we don't know about, and they're not going in their pocket because they know how Moors are going to react when they come out and say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm a Moor," because they're European, and then start quoting stuff about, you know, oh well, you know, the Moors can't amalgamate with the European nations, so you know why are you going to call a European your brother? European's my brother because he's standing up for nationality and birthrights as a Moor with Bay on his name, more than some of these Negroes who I seen personally sit down with Nature, Taj, yo, all the big mans them.
Sorry to interject.
Right?
I was gonna like Moors built some of those cities in Europe that you think that the white people are living in. So
right.
The joke, like, you built those cities. You built some of those cities.
Right.
They were built by you, and then you're like, all the Europeans are just
the devil.
When you were
right.
occupying Europe,
right,
for a good amount of time.
Okay, right. So I want to send some high honors to Brother Latif Bey, because he's out there doing the work like a Moor supposed to do. You going hard on some Moors.
I seen that, brother.
And then Moors are mad.
Islam to
you know what I mean? Moors are mad because we're repping a European. You know what I mean? That's like saying I can't listen to Gasface, the third base, and Pete Rock, and you know what I mean, when Church had Search had a cameo. Like, come on, yo, what do you mean? Search had a cameo. Yeah, he was a European, but he had a cameo. So, you know what I mean? Just like Brother Latif was talking about, you know, I got freckles. I know that's Moors in me. That's not just leprosy. You know what I mean? That's the Moors in me. And if I have one freckle on my ass and I can see that freckle, yo, that means I have one drop of Moor in me, and I have an obligation to freaking rep what the Moors rep. You know what I mean? Even Brother Patrick Lampern Bay, the Europeans who we don't talk about because we know, but it's getting heated right now because Europeans are now stepping up for birthright, claiming stuff and winning. Europeans going to court as Moors. Yeah, my name's El Bay, whatever, winning. And Moors trying to go to court with UCC one shit. and getting trapped up in 9 months, 10 months, 15 months, or whatever.
North America, we're just a lot of people in North America are lost.
Lost, right? Lost, right? Again, going back to Drew Ali, right? Drew Ali made the statement, right, that Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, children, when you get on top, treat him nice. Talking about the European, right? Why is he gonna say that for? Like, why is he gonna say treat them nice, knowing that, you know, they lynched niggers and you know what I mean, they cut people open, stomp on the babies and whatever. Why is he gonna tell us treat them nice? Because karma. You're gonna keep punching each other in the eye.
Yeah. How long?
Right? How long are you gonna just keep punching each other in the eye?
Yeah.
When are you gonna finally say, okay, you know what? All right, you kicked our ass in Carthage. You know what I'm saying? You got one on Hannibal. Okay, even though we crossed the Alps, okay, you got a good one there. You know what I mean? You had your you know, the Hammer and all these people. You know what I mean? Matamoros and all these Moor killers and shit. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, all right, cool. That was our bad, right? Because we underestimated your ass. You didn't know you were gonna pick it up like that. But okay, cool. Now that we did all that, you know what I mean, made it up to like Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We were supposed to start then, and then infiltration happened on both sides again because of the same stuff. Because everybody wants to be friends with dirty Moors and bring them around. Yeah, come on over, dirty Moors, let's chill. No, European, you need to stay out there when that European is repping harder.
But that's the math, though, is that you can't. You got to get past. I don't know, like your
that
visual,
Europeans,
what you see, because it's visually the color thing,
right?
Fucks with people,
right? So this is how you're writing too, right? This is how you're writing too, right? So the visual thing, right? So I just did some, just like you said, the visual thing, right? Yeah. And I was thinking that you know, we have to get our people to not look at the picture and look at the canvas. That's a visual thing. You know what I mean? Like, peel off the picture in layers, like from the pencil to the paint.
Yeah.
Well, go backwards.
Yeah.
All right, we're trying to get to that blank canvas, right? So then I go up on the thing and I'm like, okay, let me research canvases or whatever, right? Then I research canvases, and then all they could talk about in canvases is Moorish pictures. Really? And Moorish pictures. And these Moorish pictures on this canvas. And then there's this kind of canvas, and then this Moorish pictures on this canvas or whatever, right? Just right. So the term canvas, as a generic term for any fabric that's used as a support for painting. The fabric can be cotton duck, the most common, linen, more expensive choice, regarded as superior, or a synthetic fiber, uncommon. Right? And then it said, find out more about the choices, the canvas or whatever, and then when you go there, they show you what's good. And they tell you about, you know, the synthetic fiber. Nobody used that. Everybody bashes that, like, you know what I mean, thing, because it's like a hated, you know what I mean? A fake, you know, you never get a good drawing on that. Like, why they even make this thing? Like, that's how they're going on about that particular canvas, the quality of that canvas, you know what I mean? And then they talk about the high level canvas and the type of pictures that, you know, you would use or paint on this
on the
canvas. Because, you know, if you're going to use this canvas, you better be painting something worth painting or whatever, right? So then they start going down the pictures, right? So then they had this picture.
This was the picture that they had.
This is one of the pictures that they had, right? Just on the canvases, just talking about canvases.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
and then we're putting that, we're putting that just to show that is a European website. And they didn't go find some canvas picture of the Queen or some canvas picture of, you know, Constantine or something.
Brad Pitt or something.
Brad Pitt or whatever, right?
Yeah,
they got a picture of a Moor.
It's not Miley Cyrus on the fucking canvas.
Right, you know what I mean? Right? They went and got a picture of the Moor to demonstrate the high quality picture that you would get. And then this is a whole different thing in color. I just didn't have color printed today, right? But this is a whole different picture in color on canvas.
That's amazing,
right?
Even like that, you can see the detail.
You can see
in the painting.
The point. They're trying to make a point. You know what I'm saying?
His eyes, his nose.
Yeah, they're trying to make a point.
The shadow, the light.
Yeah, right. The light and everything.
That's a good.
Yeah, you can't. You can't make these ones up.
Yeah, no,
you can't make these ones up.
If you know
right?
what a
painting is, yeah, you would appreciate.
Even in black and white, you could see it.
Right.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like when we cast away the European, we don't even know what we're casting away. You know what I mean? We're just.
It's not the smart move.
Yeah, like.
It's not the smart move to do.
Right.
Based on our position and what people assume is our
position,
our recent late history, it's not a very smart thing to do.
Right. And oh yeah, with regard to that, treat him nice. Now, we already know that the etymon of nice is foolish, right? And being that Noble Drawley's prophet, right? You know, what we've done is treated him foolish. The European. We never treated him like, calling him a white man when he's not white. He knows he's European. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're calling him out with his name.
Yeah.
Telling him that, oh yeah, he can't use the word nigger when he's the nigger.
We say all the time.
You know what I mean? Like he's a nigger, and we're telling him he can't call himself his own name, right? And then we adopted, and originally that's his name. You know what I'm saying? Little foolishness, right? So we've been dealing with them foolish. That's why they have the upper hand right now. So when he says, when we get on top, treat him nice, right? He's not talking about the etymon. He's talking about the connotative meaning of nice. Treat him properly. You know what I mean? Respect. Whatever. He sees in the morning. Top of the morning to you. Like what's?
Yeah, but we deal with things
right. Right. That we have to always go to the etymology of something to justify whether we should use it. It's not that serious though. Like chill. You're not Negro, black, colored people. You're Moors. Look at your skin. What color are you? I'm black. All right. You have mental problems, and I don't need to talk to you anymore. I have no conversation with you, because if you look at yourself and you tell me that you're black, when you look at yourself, like you look, and then say I'm black, you have mental problems. And many are cultures and are few, so it's not even nothing to worry about. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And then we keep it moving, and then we bump into so many people that say I'm black, that when you hear a European say, oh yeah, this is the Moors land. What do you mean? Yeah, I know this is the Moors land. Like I know that the only way that I can have protection here from these colonizers, who I know that they're colonizers, because I'm a European.
Yeah, so I know them.
I know them. I know their agenda. You know what I mean? I know what they're up to. You know what I'm saying? I understand that you have the problem of, infiltrators and worrying about if, I'm gonna infiltrate what you started and whatever like that, and
this guy's actually
it's you know what I mean, right? So we have to treat them. We have to treat them proper. We have to deal with them properly. You know what I mean? Because we don't want that sword to come back around with the blade side. Because it's been coming around with the blade side on us for long. There's people who the sword stopped coming around, it's the handle side coming around to them. And they're catching the handle and they're doing what they got to do in order to protect their birthright. Because they know what happened last time they lost it. And they know what happened to us when we lost ours. So we're the prime example for everybody to see. Don't be like those guys over there. When you start getting your pants off your ass and stuff, then you know that you're there. Right? And it's time to start moving in the other direction.
Trust me.
Because
upgrade.
You can't go any more lower than where we are right now. Right? Okay. Brother T. Booker Bay said that he was walking down the street in Chicago, Illinois, and an Arabian came out of a store and asked him to come into the store. He went with him. The Arabian pointed at a man and asked him, "Do you know who this is?" Brother Booker Bey said, "That's my prophet." The Holy Prophet said, "All right, son." The store was full of Arabians, and Brother T. Booker Bey said that all of them had nationality cards for the Moorish Science Temple of America. So in 1913, right? And there's this man in the Americas named Noble Drew Ali, going around teaching people about their nationality and birthrights. And there's these people that are in slavery. And then there's all these Arabians, and you go into the store, they have a picture of the prophet. Well, black guy don't know who that is because he's not even allowed in the store. Because slaves, you have no money, so why you go into the store? Right?
Yeah.
Right? And Moors, right? Moors are around. Moors are accessible. Right? Same thing, sundry free Moors. It's the exact same thing like what we're doing today, that Moors put on the fezzes, go to court. And people are sitting there like, what's going on? What's going on right now? Something going on right now? Like,
can't even wear a hat in court. This guy's up there with fez.
Yeah, like
it's this guy like away. Like, yeah, this guy's listening to him. He's talking a lot. He's talking a lot. Judge is listening.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Right? Exact same thing. Right? And from the level of the appearance, what people see, and from the law perspective, going in there just to put our status on the record, so you know that we're not Negro, black, color people, and you can't try us under the corporate acts, the corporate statutes, and whatever that you created, because we're Moors, we're indigenous to the land, like, you know that, magistrate. If you know that, it's not something I have to tell you.
So even if you go, like, say you went to like one of our courts, you wouldn't even need the card to show them. You could just tell them that. When you're standing. You could just tell them that straight.
It's
impropria. I'm here.
Simple.
And they know.
And the protocol is supposed to be, oh, sorry about that, Mr. B. We thought that you were, this corporate entity right here.
Yeah.
But we realized that we made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? We acknowledge the treaty and whatever like that.
They don't get mad because you showed your card, like you didn't show, like, when you got the ticket or whatever the infraction was, right? And they asked for ID, you gave them that. They wrote down the ticket for that, and you don't get in trouble for doing that.
For doing that,
no.
Right?
That's what,
but I mean, sometimes they do write up the ticket or the suit of failure to identify.
That's
when you give them that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because that's kind of what, in their world, well, he gave me ID, but that's not ID that we consider ID. So he failed to identify himself to me. So here's a ticket for that.
Yeah.
But that's their statute. That's why a lot of those stuff, they throw out. You know what I mean? Because they know that it's not because the officer didn't show up. That's why they threw it out. They threw it out because they're not dealing with law. Whether he showed up or not, they threw it out. And then that should let you know something, that if he gave you the ticket and he didn't show up, right? Like, what's going on then? Why wouldn't he show up if he gave me this thing? And there's times when he's not even there. He's the witness that gave it.
Yeah.
He's the plaintiff.
Yeah.
Plaintiff
don't show up.
The plaintiff doesn't show up, and you still have to pay 20, 30, 40, whatever. Why? Because they're just going in your pockets like the bully on lunchtime. Let's have you at the locker. Go in your pocket. Go in your pocket. Right? And most of the time, that's your brother doing that to you. Not a European. Right? And if we have such a problem with the European, right? If he's such a threat to our existence, why we keep going across the world to go fight wars against people who we never seen in our life? And this European here who's pulling brothers over, take man in the back of the car, billy club, phone book, whatever they do to them, and you guys aren't fighting, killing those people? then that means you're fronting. So let's stop fronting. Let's bring the European back into the fold, because they know that
it doesn't matter if you, as long as you bring in some little bit of honesty here, and everyone knows what the hell's going on, you can bring them back in the fold.
Executive Order 11490. This executive order was authorized October of 1969 to counteract the minority, underlined, in brackets, blacks, Indians, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, and poor whites. Right? So once they say poor whites, you already know they're talking about, they're not talking about the elite who we're fighting against. They're talking about the lady who was helping slaves escape slave trade, right? At the risk of her own life, because they had stuff out for Europeans saying, yo, if you get caught helping slaves or whatever, we're gonna lynch you just like we lynched them.
Way, right?
You're getting it same way. You're not escaping because you're European. You know what I mean? But what we do, we befriend all our sellouts, all our traders. All our traders, we want to be friends with them and still go to their lectures and still support all their classes and websites and whatever that they're doing, right? True. We put it on the record.
You can't tell them, no,
right? We put it on the record already, right? The IMF is an agency of the UN. Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 816. Social security numbers are issued by the UN through the IMF. New York City is defined in federal regulations as United Nations. Rudolph Giuliani stated on C-SPAN that New York City is the capital of the world for once he told the truth. Your social security, well, their social security check comes directly from the IMF, which is an agency of the United Nations. Right? So obviously the United Nations is an agency that's out there, right, to usurp the land. And they're using the IMF as their arm to go all around the world. That's why IMF's in Jamaica and IMF's in Trinidad and IMF's in all the Caribbean islands or whatever, because all of them are part of the UN, right? So all of them are part in the usurping game, under the Pope, under the Vatican, right? But then you have Moors now, right? You have Moors. This is fez-wearing, nationality card holding Moors.
The United Nations flag in the back.
Who are going to pledge allegiance to the United Nations because they have an organization that they started called the Moorish whatever, and it's recognized by the United Nations, so you should come join this.
Nice.
Come join our group, our organization, because the UN recognizes us. And you know the UN put out the declarations of the rights, and the UN put out the declaration of and the UN is this, and the UN, and they're showing allegiance to
some trying to sell some
correct colonizers, and proof positive, right? Proof positive. A Manchurian, right, came to class on Sunday. The Taj class, right? She came to class because she called me because she saw that these guys did a Skype lecture with us.
These two gentlemen,
the guys who are down with this crew, this clique of Moors,
did a
Skype with us, right?
Canaanland Moors.
Yeah, right. So they do the Skype with us, and they cause all this confusion, right? That we had to put out a lecture after the class, clearing up the confusion of what these guys are saying, because these guys are not really there to give the people their birthright. So she saw the thing and she figured, well, all right, since they did a Skype with these guys, I'll call these guys, and then we could just build or whatever. I'm in Toronto, he's in Alberta. Why am I gonna contact Alberta when I could contact some brothers in Toronto who know these people, So she calls up or whatever, and she's giving me the rundown of everything's going on, whatever, because she's going through foreclosure and all this type of stuff or whatever. So I'm like, so you're dealing with Chief, She's like, yeah, chief, happy because I know who he is or whatever. She knows him, so yes, family vibes. Yeah. You know what I mean? The vibes. You know him, I know him. Yay! I'm like, did he tell you that you and him are brother and sister? What do you mean? Like, he didn't tell you that you're a Moor? No, Moor. What's that? Okay, don't worry about it. Whatever. So talking. So hold on a second. So he didn't tell you about your birthright,
this and this,
that you've been in this land and that you don't have any obligation to the European. No, she didn't really tell me nothing about that. I'm like, how much was the fee for the stuff? Right? When she told me the amount, bro, and not even for anything. She didn't get nothing yet. That's just the, hi, how are you doing? Yeah, my name is, whatever. What situation are you dealing with? Oh, well, the situation I'm dealing with is blah, 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 blah. All right, well, this is how you deal with that situation. You have to file this and do this. And then when you do this and do this and this is going to cause this to happen, which is going to make this do this. And then over there with the thing, and then you distract the thing with the minus and whatever. And then, right?
A whole heap of.
Right? Okay, and that's going to cost $1,000. Now,
sound like a lawyer.
Now the Manchurian this is what she's breaking down to us yesterday now. She's breaking down that, it's funny that you're bringing that part up. Because as soon as he said it, because, I deal with, this is the Manchurian lady, right? Oh yeah, because I deal with, meditation and energy and blah, 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 you know what I mean? So now she has the accent, like a Mrs. Chin.
Yeah.
Right? So you know that if you hear her on the phone, yeah, she's a newbie. I might be able to, you know what I mean? I might be able to
squeeze
something out of her, And these are Moors that people are out there supporting, dealing with.
Wow.
Right? A G for some papers, go file some papers.
To be told to go. That's what I'm saying. It's like a lawyer,
right?
You're talking to legal advice. And you pay $1,000. I bet the white guy lawyer would have charged you less.
Right? Even though both of them are officer of the court and you're not winning, regardless of which one you use, right?
Same position.
Right? It's the exact same position.
$1,000,
right?
Yeah.
Because there's a ploy right now. People don't even know how serious it is right now, right? That like the activity that the Moors are doing. It's having an impact on the whole entire world. People don't even fathom that the activity that Moors are doing.
People are not up to speed.
Right? The activity that Moors are doing is fashioning and shaping the world into something that, it could be the most prosperous thing that ever happened to the planet in a long time. Right? Just for the simple fact that you have somebody who's supposedly cracker, KKK or whatever, saying, you know what, forget all that shit right there. It's really what the Moors are saying, and standing on that. And then people are mad at that, but they're not mad at Farrakhan not telling the truth. They're not mad at Malik Zulu Shabazz not telling the truth. They're not mad at Polite not telling the truth. Professor Larry, Saw Netter, whoever is out there, right? Not talking about Moorish science.
Whoever's saying black this.
Saying black everything, they're going to support that. When that's sending them into the pits of hell. And it's been sending them to the pits of hell. That's why they're there right now. And can't get out. Reality check. Our own's been selling us the hell out. Right? Our own's been selling us out. And then our own is going to go validate some Europeans out there who they know aren't in our best interest. Like, for example, Southern Poverty Law Center. Who just recently, now this is recent that they're putting this out. Right? Mind you, what they're talking about is something from 2005. So if something happened in 2005 that was resolved, right? Something happened in 2005 was resolved. And you're bringing it up in 2013 still, trying to discredit the dissolution of what happened, right? The sovereigns, leaders of the movement, Nature El Bey, Taj Tariq Bey, Asbury Park, New Jersey. Lord Nobles, Taj Tariq Bey and Nature El Bey are two of the leaders of a rapidly growing black nationalist religious movement called Moorish Science Temple of America. Right? Like propaganda written all over this. Right? Propaganda written all over this. And we'll show you why. Right? Part of the larger and expanding phenomenon of black sovereign groups. Right?
Keep on calling them black.
Right? Keep calling them black. Keep up with the sovereign. Right? You know, and notice that they mention Moorish Science Temple of America, which is the Infiltrated Organization. Right? The part that got intercepted. Right? That we're trying to build back up. Because it lost its credibility due to the
Dirty Moors.
The Dirty Moors. Right? The group considers itself sovereign. The group considers itself sovereign. But if you watch anything that Taj put out there, anything that Nature put out there, they're immediately talking about this is not a group where you're joining something.
Yeah, this is not a group. Yeah,
right? This is nationality and birthrights.
Yeah.
Right? Propaganda all over this. Right? The group considers itself sovereign in that it counsels followers to pay taxes to the temple rather than to the IRS. Like other sovereigns, members do not carry state-issued driver's licenses, but instead use temple identification cards, and when charged with crimes, consider themselves to be outside the jurisdiction of any federal, state, or local court. The group marks itself primarily through booklets and videos posted on YouTube, and its sovereign schemes have been spreading rapidly in the last 2 or 3 years through the nation's urban neighborhoods and prison systems. Right?
Propaganda.
So
making it look away.
There must be some type of threat, right, for this information if they're going to be putting things to this level, right? If they're going to be putting things to this level, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to go get the case for yourself, right? It's in the Moorish Guide newspaper from 2006. I know Brother Nature still has copies of these, stacks of these, because Moors don't support their own, like I was saying. So he has stacks of these sitting there that Moors should have done bottle and put this all over the country wherever they are at.
Spread around.
Right? 2006. Right? And he still has copies of these right now. Right? To show you how what Dirty Moors have done to the movement.
8 years later.
Right? That now these Europeans are coming up 8 years later talking about, well, these guys were wrong and they're, whatever claim that they made is fraud and they're anti-government or whatever, when we're talking about enforcing constitutions and things of that nature, which isn't anti-anything. Right? You might be anti-de facto government, but we're not anti-government. Right? Okay. There was another point. There was another point to be made with regard to Noble Drew Ali. All right. Before the bank crash in 1929, Sister A. Brown L. of Temple 4 and 25 said that the Holy Prophet told the Moors if they had money in the bank to get it out. Some said that the Prophet told the Moors to put their money in the post office. Those that obeyed the Holy Prophet saved their money, and those that did not lost their money. Brother C. Carrington Bay of New York said that one day he was at the annual National Convention and Brother C. Kirkman Bay sent for him to come outside to witness something. There was a European man, his wife and daughter there. The European man asked Brother C. Kirkman Bey, where is that little man that used to be around? Brother C. Kirkman Bey let him know that he was no longer with us. These Europeans started crying. They were looking for the Holy Prophet. That man who was able to save his money during the bank crash because he obeyed the Holy Prophet and took his money out the bank. That's how much honor some of these Europeans have for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And one noble Jew Ali brought. That you're not listening to his stockbroker guy, lawyer guy friend.
What to do?
You listen to the Holy Prophet. Take the money out of the bank, put it in the post office.
And you're good.
And you're solid. Good. You're solid.
On that.
Right? European did it. European came back. Because remember, if he put that statement out there, that means more than likely it was in the newspaper. And if that was in the newspaper, that means black people saw it too, who had money in the bank. So-called black people. And what did they decide to do? Did they take their money out of the bank, or did they trust in their European, segregated, Jim Crow, I want to be a Negro, you know what I mean, I'm a slave, I want reparations or whatever. All right, cool. You lose everything. Because one, your name's European, so that we own everything that you have anyways, because your name's European. And secondly, you should have took your money out of the bank. And you should have followed that little man that these Europeans were following. Right?
Imagine that.
And we're not saying that Europeans are Moorish Americans. We're not saying Europeans are members of the Moorish Science Temple. We're saying that as Moors, we have the authority to naturalize. We don't need the temple for that. The same brother Latif Bey, he's going to Moors that don't know that they're Moors and telling them they're Moors. You know, you're a Moor, this is your land or whatever. He's getting locked up, standing up for birthrights, going into jail, and then telling Moors in jail
what's up,
that they're Moors. They need to claim their birthright. And I'm going to hate on this guy? That's more than Moors do. Right? Way more than Moors do. Some Moors don't do it jack. They don't do jack. Right? Everybody knows that the Moor, right? Everybody knows that the Moor, right up in the corner right there, the Moor was known throughout Europe. Everybody knows the Moor is known throughout Europe. Moor in Europe's not a secret. Right? Europeans know about us. It's not a secret. Benedict the Moor. Everybody knows about Benedict the Moor, right? Italian Franciscan friar in Sicily, right? Catholic and Lutheran, born of Moorish or African slaves. Born of Moorish or African, which means African and Moor is synonymous. So if you're calling yourself African, you might as well call yourself Moor. Why not? They're synonymous.
But
why not? Right? And then we go to the law on citizenship of the United States, right? Expatriation, etc. And it's saying that persons residing in Morocco, which North America is Morocco, right? So persons residing in Morocco who cannot prove foreign citizenship. So if you can't prove where you come from, which the European can't prove where he comes from, because we ran Europe, we ran Asia South, Asia North, North America, South America, Alaska, everywhere. So European has nowhere to claim as his own. That's a documented fact. right? And nobody's not 2013 gonna go live in no caves nowhere.
Yeah.
So let's stop the bullshit about send the Europeans back to the cave, because ain't no European gonna go live in a cave right now, 2013. So they're around here. We're stuck with them. The fact that we're stuck with them, any persons residing in Morocco who cannot prove foreign citizenship or protection are considered ipso jure Moorish subjects.
Subjects.
Moorish subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Subject of the Moor.
Mm-hmm. Not property, but subject.
Not property, but subject. So if you can't prove foreign citizenship, and
by default,
you're just a Moor. By default, you're a Moor. Yeah, by default, you have to take this nationality.
It would be smart to take this.
Like, you have to take it.
You could have another.
If you're in Morocco,
another one.
If you're in Morocco, right, and you can't prove where you come from, automatically you're a subject of the Moors. Doesn't that mean that that person's a Moor if they're a subject?
Yeah.
Right? If a slave's owned by the master, doesn't that mean that the slave is part of the master? And the master, there are some slave masters who took very good care of their slaves. They didn't lynch nobody or nothing like that. They let them marry into the family and all that. So our perspective has to change about how we're looking at this relationship. Because the mentality that we had, and now we got a fez on and still have that mentality, but hate the European or whatever.
Yeah, what's the point?
When, you know, it's like Brother Jupiter. You know, the European I know since high school. Know him since the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could count on hands, toes, whatever, so-called brothers that done sold out. And this man never sold out one time. He's a European, devil and all that, cracker. And he never sold out one time.
Yeah, so really,
he was with me when the next Europeans are freaking got a nigger or whatever, they call him nigger lover and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, right?
So what's really good?
Moor subjects. Once you're under the jurisdiction of the Moors, you're a Moor. And you better claim that you're a Moor if you're under the jurisdiction of the Moors and live by the high principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Because if you don't worry about the Moor that put you on. Don't worry about Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Allah is going to get you. And you don't want Allah getting you. So the choice is yours. You want to be a Moor? Cool. Just make sure you live by the high five. Right? And if you don't live by the high five, then Allah is going to get you. It's not going to be me. I don't care. Like, call yourself Moor. I don't care. If that's what you really think you are, in your heart and your mind and your soul, and nobody can tell you that you're not a Moor, then God damn it, you're a Moor. And you're my brother, let's get to work. Let's do something together. You know what I mean? And stop the crap like you're one of those guys that you're trying to tell me about. You're putting me on knowledge. Like, well, you know, as a European, you know, I can tell you how the stuff runs. Because that's my system over there. You know what I mean? I know what we did. You know what I'm saying? And it's not about takeover. It's about harmonious balance with everybody. Because even the Europeans are fed up. And wanna shift. Right?
No one wants to just pay higher taxes.
Negroes are going to have this right here in front of their church, right? St. Benedict the Moor on the church, where they go to. And inside they have a picture of a brother called a Moor. But they call themselves black people in black churches. This is a black church. Like this is a black church. This is a black church called a Moor. And then we want to know what's wrong. How come people deal with us funny, right? Including the European, who's been dealing with us funny, right? Saint Benedict the Moro. For all those people who Moor means black, and you know the European gave Moor to the Moors. Well, this is in a totally different language, not a European language, and it says Moor right there, and it means the same thing as it means in English. Right? And it's a brother.
Benedetto, Ilmo.
Right? You know, we're gonna talk about, you know, the Moorheads. All the Moorheads in Europe. Right? There's all these crests with Moorheads on them, right? Why do you think the crests have Moorheads on them? Because the Moors put them there? No. That's a European family name. The European knows that it comes from the Moors, so they put the Moors' head on their crest. This is not the Moors. This is not what the Moors did. This is what the Europeans did to honor the Moors. Because they hold the Moors in very high honors. Very high honors. Right? Moorish King Balthazar of Babylon. Babylon that we're saying, oh yeah, Babylon, Bun Babylon and all that stuff. Brother. And he's known as the Moorish King of Babylon. How's a Moorish King, how's a brother known as the Moorish King of Babylon and then you're born in Babylon now? Right? That's like them saying, oh yeah, you know, the West, they always do this one in the Black Power, you know, the Western civilization is, you know, the whatever. But Europe's in the East. What are you talking about? How Europe's in the East.
Continent to Africa.
Right?
Right there.
Europe's in the East. Europe's not no Western civilization.
It's not in North America. It's not in South America.
Right? Get them to hate their own birthright. Right? This one's Switzerland. Right? Switzerland. More on a building. Not a black guy on a building, African or whatever. Even though African is synonymous with Moor, they don't call him African.
They call him Moor.
They call him a Moor for a reason. Right? They call him a Moor for a reason. And I bet you it's a European that built this.
And put that statue.
And put that statue there. But we're gonna hate on Europeans. Europeans the devil, but we don't want to recognize none of these devils around us that's been selling us to hell for the past 50, 60 years. Right? Although Ethiop or Ethiops is by far the most common generic word which the Greeks and Romans used to designate a Negroid type, after African and Indus and Moor are at times obviously the equivalents of Ethiopian. Right? That's why Noble Drew Ali could say, you're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. Because Ethiopians are Moors too. So why are you going to call yourself something that you're not? Right? The mortem passage uses Afra of a woman about whose racial identity there can be no doubt. This usage of Afra is evidence that Afar, which generally indicates African or Libyan origin, may refer also to a racial type that is unquestionably Negroid. Right? In spite of a common ancient confusion between East and South, both Virgil and Ovid seem to have applied Indi to Ethiopians, that is, African Negroes. The former refers to the Nile pouring down from the colored Indians, the latter to Perseus bringing Andromeda from the black Indians. Ab Indus appearing in both cases at the end of a dactylic hexameter seems to be a poetical tag, a convenient substitute for an intended Ethiopibus, metrically unsuited. Mori was also used at times both as a poetical equivalent of Ethiops and as a broad term which included Ethiopians. S. Weinstock noted that the meaning of Mori is not sufficiently clear and considers impossible the association which some ancients made between Mori and the color of the people or the words for black. Manilus, for example, says that Mori received its name, or Mauritania received its name from the color of its inhabitants, Mori. Right? Everybody knows what's up. Everybody knows.
Mauritania.
Right? And then I wanted to put this up there so we can see that the Roman province of Africa, named by the people who lived there, was established after the Romans defeated Carthage in the Third Punic War. It roughly comprised the territory of present-day northern Tunisia and the small Mediterranean Sea coast of modern-day western Libya along the Citrus Minor. Then they show a picture right here, right? And then they show you that Africa,
is just that small part,
right? Africa is just this small part right here.
Mauritania up there, yeah.
Right? Tell me where Africa is, and don't be fooled by this up here. This saying Roman Empire right here, right? This is what they would do, right? They have a map, and they put things on the map to imply possession of jurisdictions, right? So they have Roman Empire written on Africa, when like that's not Roman Empire.
No.
Right? And then under it they have Africa, Roman Empire Africa, right? So automatically your mind,
you think
okay, well that's the Roman Empire.
No, it's just this part,
but it's just the part that
they have highlighted
is Roman, where they conquered.
Underneath says Libya, like the whole thing is called Libya.
Right. Right. So in our studies, right, we have to also remember to use the synonyms. If Africa is synonymous with Moor, then use both of them. You don't have to play the game of trying to justify. Noble Drew Ali used Africa a lot. You know what I mean? Right? Right? So there's Pope Francis.
Just the new guy.
Yeah, right, with the Black Madonna.
That's what that is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. Pope Francis with the Black Madonna. And we just want to read to get you ready for later when we go on Moorish History School on Blog Talk, right? MHHS, Moorish Heritage and History School, Eyes Wide Open Blog Talk at 9:30 p.m. tonight, right? Right after this, 347-945-5899. Because we got so much work to do. Moors who aren't doing nothing, they need to start doing something. Either where you are in your territory, or start up something, or put out something or something. Because shit is crumbling all around us right now, right? And it's crumbling in our favor. It's not crumbling as a negative.
Yeah.
It's crumbling because it's in our favor. Things are stepping up for us.
It's a cycle.
Right?
New cycle.
New cycle's coming. Right? So either you're down with the new cycle, or you might not even be here, to be honest with you. Right? So we have two things to try to get through. Why we showed Pope Francis. There's the apostolic letter issued motu proprio, or in his own hand, of the Supreme Pontiff Francis on the jurisdiction of judicial authorities of Vatican City State in criminal matters. In our times, the common goal is increasingly threatened by transitional organized crime, the improper use of the markets of the economy, as well as by terrorism. It is therefore necessary for the international community to adopt adequate legal instruments to prevent and counter criminal activities by promoting international judicial cooperation on criminal matters. Right? So now remember that this is the head of the whole Christian Catholic world talking right now. The head of the Roman Empire. Right? This is saying that it's time now for the promotion of international judicial cooperation on criminal matters in any jurisdiction. International communities are supposed to be stepping in now. Why? Because of all these writs that Moors been writing, letting them know that the Moors are back, letting them know that the jurisdiction of the Moors, you know, everything.
It exists, and we're
it exists.
Back and
right? So these individuals now who have usurped and, you know, took over basically, are putting out things now, right? Remember, it's only the heads, and it already started trickling. Like you can tell that some people got information, right? Some people, right? Because like what the Todd was talking about last night is that look out in the community for all these heads of whatever starting to retire early.
Okay.
Jumping ship, because now
they don't want no part of.
They don't want any part in international community be involved in coming to audit them, especially after the people who had their names listed on these birth certificates are now withdrawing themselves from being the collateral of that bond. Now it's really a debt instrument that they sold to the same international guy who's coming now to say, yeah, we just want to check, make sure everything's running smooth here. You know, we got a letter from this, right?
Individual.
He said that he's the sovereign of the land or whatever, and that we need to check out something about genocide, peonage, or something like that. You know, that's international war crimes. You know, and he's a national, so it's not like that's a black guy coming and wanting to the international community to want to hear something, want us to hear something. That's somebody that's competent, somebody that's improper persona, right? Like Brother Fontes talked about with the diplomat from Czech Republic or whatever coming to his door with his security guard.
Really?
Because he sent writs out.
So someone from the Czech Republic
came knocked the door. Just to see, just to say, okay, I just wanted to see who you were. So we got your stuff.
Wow.
This is my security. And, you know, have a nice day. Right? Because everybody's judging what to do based on what the Moors do. Everybody's judging.
Moors sent that letter, then they reacted.
Right? And
they jump and they say how.
Pope Francis got letters from Moors. He's gotten letters with his crest on the letter.
Yeah.
From Moors.
Yeah. Saying
that we know
what's up.
What's up? Like what's up?
What are we saying over
right?
there?
And then all of a sudden, just yesterday, he dropped one of these letters.
Wow.
Right? On the first.
To this Pope.
Yeah. On the first, he dropped the letter. You know, and then why is he doing that? Because, you know, he was born in Argentina. Right? So he has a certain obligation to the indigenous people over here, even if he's Italian.
Yeah, whatever.
Because when he goes back to Italy, he's going to go see more heads over there and he knows what's up.
So
right? It's not a secret to him, you know?
Black Madonna.
Yeah, right? We're going to talk about bun the Pope and, you know what I mean, beat the drum, bun the Pope down and all that, when he's telling you that you can go to the international community for judicial matters and that they have to cooperate because I'm the Pope and I say so. Right? Because remember,
I'm the Pope and they have to.
Yeah, because remember, you know, it might not be us, but as far as he's concerned, as far as he's concerned, right, he has like things up. Well, the corporate jurisdiction, he has the corporate jurisdiction on lock and key. The Pope, right? He has it locked. Nobody can do anything in the corporate jurisdiction without the Pope knowing, finding out, whatever, because he knows everything that's going on in the jurisdiction, right? He knows it all. You know what I'm saying? Right? Okay. The Pope can abolish any laws in the United States.
Like how you would think that, you know, religion
and politics,
the big bad America, they do their own thing, they don't listen to nobody, we run our own ship, our own show, and then a guy in a religion, like all the way across the ladder, is gonna say, okay, look, get rid of this law and do this, change that law, because I don't like that, just because
they're owned by him. And then we have to remember that it's never, when we're talking about jurisdiction of the corporate government that's de facto pushing democracy, we always have to remember that they're U.S. They're not America. As soon as we call them America, we give them jurisdiction over everything from Alaska to Chile. Now they can do their land of doctrine of discovery and all this stuff, right? You know, right? So we have to keep in mind that they are, their jurisdiction is corporate only, and they're owned by the Pope. That's why he can abolish any law within that corporate construct, right? The Pope claims to own the entire planet through the laws of conquest and discovery, right? Because even that's a corporate jurisdiction, you know, Earth or whatever. Right? The Pope has ordered the genocide and enslavement of millions of people. Papal bulls of 1455 and 1493. So you're going to check those papal bulls. Papal bulls of 1455 and 1493 to see how the Pope has ordered genocide and enslavement of millions of people. Right? And I guarantee you those millions of people had to be denationalized before they can do that. Right? They can't do that to just anybody. Or they would just do it to anybody and they would really own the planet. Right? The Pope's laws are obligatory on everyone. Right? In ratifying numerous international conventions in these areas and acting also on behalf of Vatican City-State, the Holy See has constantly maintained that such agreements are effective means to prevent criminal activities that threaten human dignity and the common good and peace. Right? The common good, he's talking about common law. He's talking about the truths that are held self-evident, that every man is created equal. Right? With a view to renewing the Apostolic See's commitment to cooperate to these ends by means of this apostolic letter issued Montu Propria, I establish that the competent judicial authorities of Vatican City-State shall also exercise penal jurisdiction over crimes committed against the security, the fundamental interests, or the patrimony of the Holy See, crimes referring to in Vatican City-State Laws number 8 of 11th of July 2013, in Vatican City-State Law number 1X of 11 July 2013, when such crimes are committed by persons referred to in paragraph 3 below in the exercise of their functions, any other crime whose prosecution is required by an international agreement ratified by the Holy See, if the perpetrator is physically present in the territory of the Vatican State and has not been extradited. The crimes referred to in paragraph 1 are to be judged pursuant to the criminal law in force in Vatican City State at the time of their commission without prejudice to the general principles of the legal system on the temporal application of criminal laws. For the purpose of Vatican criminal law, the following persons are deemed public officials: members, officials, and personnel of the various organs of the Roman Curia and of the institutions connected to it. So that means all those corporations, right? All the corporations
connected to it.
Right. All the corporations that are bankrupt and their governments are dissolved, they can now go under the protection of the Holy See. They can now go under the protection of the Roman Curia, which is proving that that's who owns them, and they've never been the government, and they've been running a fraud on the whole planet. So and it also means that their system's crashing, and has crashed, and it's time for the inhabitants to step up and do what they're supposed to do, that they were supposed to do from 1913. The dirty Moors got in the way and tried to slow down the process of this, but you can't slow down the spirit.
I heard that this is supposed to be the last pope.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There was an Irish priest, Saint Malachi Negro, Morogue, something like that. Saint Malachi something. Yeah. It was either Moro or Negro or something. Yeah. But you obviously could tell what the last name was going on. Right. And this guy was supposedly like, you know, he had some like predictions and whatnot. He's like, yeah, this guy's the last guy.
For real.
This guy's the last guy, yeah.
Yeah. Because they know time's done. They're fed up with this too. Right? So members, organs of the Roman Curia, of the institutions connected to it. Papal legates and diplomatic personnel of the Holy See. Those persons who serve as representatives, managers, or directors, as well as persons who even de facto manage or exercise control over entities directly dependent on the Holy See and listed in the registry of canonical juridical persons kept by the government of Vatican City State. Any other person holding an administrative or judicial mandate in the Holy See, permanent or temporary, unpaid or paid or unpaid, irrespective of that person's seniority. The jurisdiction referred to in paragraph 1 compromises also the administrative liability of the juridical persons arising from crimes as related to Vatican City State laws. When the same matters are prosecuted in other states, the provisions in force in Vatican State on concurrent jurisdiction shall apply. This I decide and establish, anything to the contrary notwithstanding. I established this apostolic letter issued motu proprio will be promulgated by its publication, Leo Versto Romano, entered into force September 1st, 2013. Right? So that's on the jurisdiction of judicial matters of Vatican City State and criminal matters. So everybody's thrown under the bus right now. Right? Then he said, apostolic letter issued motu proprio for the prevention and countering of money laundering, the financing of terrorism, and the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. Right? And all this is on their website. Right? And then August 5th they came out. So this is leading up. Right? Him taking certain things, doing certain things, leading up to that September 1st letter, where he exposed that, you know, everybody's on their own right now, unless you come under the jurisdiction of the Holy See that founded you. Right? Because they realize the criminality. And they're not going to sit back now and claim to be the holy whatever when the world's in turmoil that they help cause by sending out these agents, because they don't want to end the war. They want to keep the war going between the Asiatics and the Europeans. When the Europeans and people on the ground level, they're like, yo, like, come on, you know, invoking, you know, higher self in them to do better and change and not be in the same category as these crazy people, right? So he comes out with message of Pope Francis to Muslims throughout the world for the end of Ramadan.
Okay, yeah. I heard you.
Right?
Okay.
You know, and he's talking about, you know, he's aware of the family and social dimensions and, you know, the parallels between the Christian faith and the Islamic faith. But, you know, it gives me great pleasure to greet you as you celebrate Eid al-Fitr, so concluding the month of Ramadan dedicated mainly to fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. It is a tradition by now that on this occasion, the Pontifical Council of Interreligious Dialogue sends you a message of good wishes, together with a proposed theme of common reflection. This year, the first of my pontificate, I have decided to sign this traditional message myself and send it to you, dear friends, in an expression of esteem and friendship for all Muslims, especially those who are religious leaders. As you all know, when the cardinals elected me as Bishop of Rome and university pastor of the Catholic Church, I chose the name of Francis, a very famous saint who loved God and every human being deeply to the point of being called universal brother. He loved, helped, and served the needy. This is the same Pope, remember, that he's not sleeping in the Vatican and none of that. He got rid of the Pope mobile, you know, because he wants to deal with the people. He went Christmas, he went there kissing feet and whatever.
The other day, some people came in the Vatican. This guy takes his phone, takes a picture of him and the people on his phone, tweets that, boom, put that up.
Right? Different Pope right now.
Yeah, that's what they're.
Different Pope right now. Even though he might be fronting, right? Even though he might be running a fraud and whatever. We have to recognize that they recognize something's going on, and they're doing things to protect themselves so they don't get any karma, because they know that it's going to hit the fan, and they're protecting themselves right now. They know that the war is spiritual, not on the earth plane, and they're doing everything in their power to protect themselves, because it's not Moors they have to worry about putting them in slavery again if we get in power. You have to worry about Allah, because everybody's Muslim.
Flipping things.
Everyone's Muslim. You know, Christian, Roman Catholic, nothing. Islam already took over the planet, and this is an Islamic planet.
It's an Islamic planet.
I think that's what it is right now. You can't get around it. Everywhere you go, Assalamu alaikum everywhere. Right? And Noble Drew Ali made the statement, every knee is going to bow to Islam. You're not going to be able to get around it. Right? Because the real foundation, the first religious creed is Islamism. And that's honor for nature. That's why Manchurian could come to class and get down when we're talking about meditation or whatever, because she's like, yeah, that's right up my alley. That's right up my alley. That's why Latif Bey could come and say, you know what, yeah, you know, Islam. When he sees people on the street, you know, they look at him weirdo.
Yeah, they look at him,
but
because they don't know. But they don't know.
They don't know, right? And what's wrong is that more should know. Yeah, we know that they're colonists. Yeah, we know that they're troglodyte, hybrid, you know what I mean? Cave dwellers, right? Yeah, we know they're Frankenstein, but not all of them. Some of them have serious conviction to the truth.
That's true as well.
Right? Some of them would put their neck on a block for you. Before your brother, who you knew for 25 years. That always sold you out, but you just never, you know, because that's my brother. That's my boy, what's up? You know, on the Bud Light or whatever. Right?
What? That guy's
selling your ass out.
Regular.
Selling you out regular. And you don't want to give this one European a chance. You're going to cast him with all the other, you know what I mean, cutthroats or whatever, just because. right? It's change-up time right now. Things have to change, and they're changing whether we make it change or not, right? Noble Drew Ali, the Holy Prophet said, I am going to make the European enforce my law. Right? Latif Bey is prophecy. That Noble Drew Ali said, I'm going to make the European enforce my law. He's not enforcing his law. He's enforcing Moorish law on Moors. And Moors are mad because the European more active than them with their birthright that they should have been doing from 1913, but they didn't do because they've been listening to dirty Moors, right? And this European just coming to the fold right now. Just hold on a second. So you mean I'm more subject? So if I'm more subject, then that means I should probably get down with the Moors and start talking how Moors talk, because what else is there for me to do? We tried everything else and everything failed. So what else we gonna do?
I mean, you could still drink your Bud Light, and you know what I mean, smoke. You're gonna smoke your cigarettes anyways. You like fast cars and trucks. You know what I mean? You like all that shit regardless, but you can still do that shit.
Right? And again, it's if obviously we're not taking no, you know what I mean? Because Allah's the one that's gonna judge you. It's not gonna be me. So, whatever. Noble Drew Ali said that the European, I don't see anything in here saying that a Moor came and was looking for the Holy Prophet to say, you know what, yo, you saved me all this money, I just came back to say, you know, whatever. The European is what's documented as coming and saying that, you know, crying his eyes out because he couldn't thank Noble Drew Ali for saving him all this money when the stock market crashed. You know what I mean? He couldn't.
Madness.
Right? You know? And it's not even like we have a choice. Like, we don't have a choice right now. Right? Like, it's done. We don't have a choice. Right? Whether they know what they did or not, Allah's going to deal with them. That's not your business. Judge them as, you know, but what if he sells out? If he sells out, then hey, Allah's deal with him. Right? What Noble Drew Ali say? Divine warning for the nations. Right? Divine warning for the nations. Plural.
Not just one, not just everybody.
Divine warning for the nations. And Europe's a nation of pale people. Right? And everybody knows that, okay, well, Muhammad died, Jesus died, Buddha died, right? Confucius died, whoever. Everybody who they call prophet, Heru, Zoroaster, whatever, everybody. Everybody died, right?
Everybody died.
Gandhi, whoever, right? Everybody, right? Noble Drew Ali came, right? Last prophet, sent by Allah to redeem the people from their sinful ways. Right? He died. And nobody doesn't talk about him. They talk about Gandhi. They talk about Buddha. There are books out there on Buddha. You go to the bookstore, look up Buddha, they have just freaking books and books on Buddha.
A guy from like years ago.
Right? Guy from years ago.
You never met him.
That you never met ever.
He wasn't alive in your lifetime.
Right? But there's somebody from your lifetime, you know what I mean, who put certain things in place.
Drop some knowledge, put some
drop some heavy ones on us, right? Told us what we're supposed to do,
and you don't even want to bat an eye.
And we don't even want to back him.
No.
And then he's saying, if the European helped me, why not you? Which means since 1913 he's been engaging with the European, doing things with the European because the European is helping him. The European was helping the Prophet back then, right? Nobody's not talking about bringing them into the temple and making them grand sheiks so they can run temples and nothing like that. You never say nothing like that. We just said, yo, Europeans are Moors. Treat him like your brother. Like, he doesn't have to be a member of the temple to be a Moor.
He doesn't have to sleep with your wife. You don't
have to like, share. You know what I mean?
It's not like
it's just, yo, man, like, uplifting fallen humanity.
Yeah, you can just deal with people like normal.
No, we know that the Europeans fallen. Look what you did to the planet. We know the Europeans, you know, some of the Europeans have fallen. They have accepted that position that, you know what, we're falling. So let's
And
do like what Noble
2,000
Drew Ali
years.
said and put the truth out. They're not gonna put it out their mouth like that, but I guarantee they know about Noble Drew Ali. If Latif Bey knows about Noble Drew Ali, I'm sure Alex Jones knows about Noble Drew Ali. I'm sure William Strout and all these pseudo-sovereign guys know about Noble Drew Ali, and they choose not to say nothing.
Actually, yeah, trust me.
Like they have to know about. If Rick Smith knows about Noble Drew Ali and Peter Moon knows about Noble Drew Ali to go put his book in the Library of Congress and all that, talking about the market crash and the 1928 Pan American Conference Noble Drew Ali went to. It's in the Library of Congress, and the Library of Congress didn't say, nah, get your books out of here because we don't deal with lies or whatever. They filed his book talking about the 1928 Pan American Conference that Noble Drew Ali went to, that all the chiefs of all the Indian tribes went to, right? That the president went to, that the Secretary of State, went to, right? And the Secretary of State is at the thing, at the meeting, right? All these Indian chiefs are at the meeting, and meeting can't start yet because Noble Drew Ali's not there. And everybody's sitting there waiting for Noble Drew Ali to come to the meeting. And then when I'm going to back him, you know what I mean? Right? And then a European that's backing him, we're not going to back that European. When Noble Drew Ali said, Europeans helping me, why not you? Why not you? If the Europeans helping, if you have David McRitchie going to put out 2-volume books, right?
About some information about Moors in Europe that you wouldn't have got if it wasn't for him. I'm going to call him the devil and I'm not going to support his book. You're crazy. Crazy. That's not logical. No. And this is where it's at. Like, who knows, right? Like, who knows? Just put it out there. Like, Latif Bey could be sitting on millions of dollars, right? Just a European out there, right? Just like all these other Europeans, right? Just a European out there that, but there's so much dirty Moors out there, I really don't know who to write the check to. So I'm just gonna continue doing what I do, because I can't trust nobody. Exactly.
And I'm supposed to be trusting people on this side. It's not even supposed to be, you know what I mean? Even Brother Patrick, right? The European. He's paying his dues every month. No questions asked.
There you go.
No questions asked. No, I've sent a message to him.
He's coming to you.
Dues are due, you know what I mean? Make sure you get your dues in on time, blah, blah. Every month, clockwork.
I don't want this guy on my team.
Right?
On my team.
It's not about fiat, but if we say dues, whatever you want, anything above $20 is your dues. Right? It's due end of the month because we got rent on the 1st. So
for sure. So let's see what we can do.
And he's in Montreal, where he's not coming and delivering it by hand or whatever. He's doing it by mail, and it's getting here before the end of the month. Every month. And I'm not going to back him. I'm not going to support him in, whatever he needs to do with regard to getting the word out about the Moors wherever he lives. I think he's trying to take over something. When he play a sax better than some Moors. He play a sax better than some Moors.
Trust me.
Right? Who say that I play sax? I've been studying this saxophone since my great-great-granddad. He can't play nothing compared to this European right here. Right? Who has Moorish blood in him. That's the only reason why he could play sax like that. Has to be.
Trust me.
You know what I mean? So honors to all the brothers out there and sisters, you know what I mean, that are Europeans, that know that they're ipso jure Moorish subjects. You know what I mean? This one was to let y'all know that, you know what I mean, we appreciate it. And I talked to the big Moors. You know what I mean? I am not just, you know what I mean? I had an in-depth conversation today, you know, with Sister Anaid and Brother Fontes about the same subject.
Okay.
And everybody's saying, even them, they're saying, yo, Moors were on this, what he's on, we'd be light years than where we are right now. If Moors were just on it as hard as Latif Bey is on it, who's a European that just sees what it is. You know what I mean? You got mad work to do. Madness. You got mad work to do. But it's hitting on 9 o'clock right now. Let's get these funny off time flies.
Killing time.
Old school. Right? So bills out the way. Oh yeah, and also too, make sure you go Google taser used on 80-year-old lady in Mississauga. Right? That just happened a couple of days ago.
Sorry, what?
80-year-old lady got tased by the pigs.
In Mississauga?
Yeah.
Really, eh?
In Mississauga. For everybody who doesn't know, Mississauga is not the hood, basically, right? Mississauga is not the hood. So when you hear that police are tasing old ladies in Mississauga, you know that stuff's about to hit the fan. You got to get your stuff in order. Because Mississauga is not the hood. Right? That's supposed to happen anywhere, but when you hear that Mississauga, when you hear people tasing people in the Hamptons, right? Old ladies, you know, old ladies in their Benzes getting pulled over, getting their ass kicked by police. You know that martial law is coming, or is here.
That's madness,
right? So let's see if we do this in order. September 14th, 2013, York University, Curtis Lecture Hall 1, $25 at the door at 1 p.m. Ashra and Mary Rakwesi are going to be in Toronto. Canaanland Moors is going to be there vending. If you need to get, you know, any Moorish information or whatever like that, that's where we're going to be at. September 14th. Contact number 647-919-0466 and 647-289-0877. Don't forget September 21st and September 22nd, starting at 10 a.m., Toronto Naturals Hair Show. And that's for information, you can go to torontonaturals.ca. Contact number 647-858-4247 and 416-580-5309. So this has to take some time to upload, you know what I mean? So go get your little chill on. You know, you got about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and make sure you tune in tonight, Moorish Heritage and History School, with Brother Fontes, Sister Anaid, Brother Mizraim, Brother Cujo, whoever else decides to call in on Blog Talk, Eyes Wide Open. 9:30 p.m. Call-in number 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Moorish Heritage and History School, Eyes Wide Open / Blog Talk, 9:30 p.m. So once again, just so to let y'all know where it's at, don't forget, contact Brother Nature, get the Writ of Error newspaper from 2006 when they beat up that class action lawsuit that they filed against Ashbury Park Police. Let's get everybody on the record.
There was a meeting in the park and the cops filed against them.
In the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Right, remember the only Supreme Court is in Pennsylvania, right? The Great Seal Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated et al. Plaintiffs versus State of New Jersey Asbury Park Police Department, Sergeant John Broyles, Officer Joseph P. Sapalina, Officer John P. Sosdian III, Patrick Green, Court Clerk, Wall Township Police Department, Sergeant Lancelotti, Sergeant Broccoli, Jim's Towing, Richard's Auto Body, et al. Defendants. Right, and this is on the Writ of Error, December 6th, 7th, 8th, 2005, plaintiff's affidavit of fact and information, response and objection to Prater District Judge's memorandum and order. So you're going to go get that, and then keep this in mind that this is the law, that whenever you have a court matter and you go to court and they railroad you, your next move is a writ of error, right? When they don't honor default judgment and all that, kidnap you and whatever, your next step is writ of error. And you draft it up like a class action lawsuit, and you have all the Moors who you know that are down with it sign it, and you file that in federal court in order to put it on the record that there have been errors in the kangaroo court, that Article 3 of the Constitution tells you that if they're not in line with the supreme law of the land, they're not withstanding. Right? Stokely Carmichael, Black Power, and Charles V. Hamilton, The Politics of Liberation in America. You might want to reconsider a lot what your black leader has been telling you. Treaty of Peace and Friendship book, rvbaypublications.com. No picture, but oral statements and prophecies of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Don't forget, you can get that at any more Science Temple of America. And if they say that they don't got it, you know, you need to be questioning them on why they don't have it. And don't forget also King Alfred Plan. Make sure you go pick up your King Alfred Plan, RV Bay Publications, so you can know what's going on. And again, don't forget that there's 30 Moors in this movement, charging $1,000 and all this type of stuff in order for you to get your birthright. Nationality is free all over the world. Moors, be yourself. Stop trying to be something that you're not. Rise and close out with the prayer. We want to say Islam to all the Moors that were online and all the Moors that have been watching. We're going to be back next week. And don't forget, right after this is not civil alert, Moorish Heritage and History School, Eyes Wide Open blog talk. And big up Sister Santasha and Sabir Bey and the whole Civil Alert crew. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Peace and Hotep, Moors.